According to the research done by the Ministry of Fisheries Department and Blue Economy, fish has reduced in Lake Victoria greatly, with notable figures of 4% reduction. This decline of fish has been caused by factors like illegal practices and overfishing. The State Department of Blue Economy and Fisheries research done in the year 2023-2024 outlined the statistical decline, where in the year 2023, the wild catch was 70,313 metric tons, valued at 12.1 million Kenya shillings. And in the year 2024, the quantity in the fish capture was 67,575 metric tons, which was valued at 10.8 million Kenya shillings, which is a 1.99% decline.
The Kenyan part of Lake Victoria sahi hakuna kitu. I can go for fishing the whole night, urudi na samaki mbili tatu.
The status actually is quite not so good in terms of the wild catch, because as you know, the wild fisheries currently is dwindling, not only on Lake Victoria, but in different lakes around the world.
If we look at the numbers in the late 90s and early 2000s, the numbers were great, and from there to currently, the stocks have really declined.
Humans have a way of adapting to changes, and yes, here at Lake Victoria, we find fishermen who have decided to adopt fishing, or rather to rear fish in a different aspect. That is through use of cages and ponds immersed within the lake. Chris says that the motivation to begin cage fish farming was due to unyielding results of the wild catch.
Unaenda fishing the whole night, unarudi na samaki tatu. You end up umeuza, unagawa 75 bob. You have a family, uko na ule anaenda shule, sijui nini, haiwezi kutosha.
In collaboration with Kemfree, they are able to determine the perfect spot where the cage structures should be set up across the vast waters of Lake Victoria.
Fisherman ni ule anaenda kwa lake, hana GPS lakini anazunguka kwa ile lake yote. Ukiangalia kwa hii kona, kuna kamba imeenda chini, si ndio? Angalia kwa hiyo kona, kuna kamba imeenda chini. Kuna anchor tunatumia zile mawe concrete mzito kabisa. Tunazinua, kisha tengeneza na ile simiti yako ya waterproof. Unatumia the wooden boats, unaziweka mbao, unaweka, unakuja unahitumbuiza. Meaning tunajua depth ya hapa. Unaona? Lazima uende Kemfree wa estimate depth ya hapa, wafanye research kama hapa inaweza lea samaki, unaona? So ukishaleta net unafunga ile, unafunga hii. Ukishaweka cage hapo. Kazi yake itakuwa ina rotate tu. Ukifunga moja itakuwa ina rotate, lakini ukifunga mbili iko tu constant. Unaona? Haiwezi enda mahali.
The fish cages are made by connecting HDPE metal frames, which are 5 by 5 cubic meters. The stanchions act as the rib cage of the entire structure, holding the handrails. The containment net is then secured to the inner ring-like metal frames using reinforcement ropes, while at the surface, a bird net is dropped over to keep predators out. So as to ensure stability of the entire structure, man-made concrete anchors are put in place to ensure the cage remains in position amidst water currents. The fish farmers here at Lake Victoria get their fingerling supplies from the hatcheries.
Samaki tunanunua from the hatchery. Tunaziita fingerlings. Zinakuja ina juala filled with oxygen.
Fish are fed on fixed timelines.
Hizi zikisikia mgurumo tu ya mashini, utaona venye reaction. Venye saa hii jua imekomaa kidogo huwezi ziona. But asubuhi zimejua tu 6:30. Hiyo ni time ya kukula asubuhi. Tena 5 jioni, hiyo ni time ya kukula. Utapata ukipita tu hapa na mashini zitakuwa ziko juu.
Chris says that feeding patterns follow a well-defined structure until the harvesting season.
Fingerlings, like zile tuliweka leo ni day yao 1, wanakula starter mash. Kaunga tu hapo, wanaikula for 1 month. after 2 months wanakula grower mash. Bado wanakula mash. Alafu ikifika hapo 4 months wanaingia kwa hii pellet sasa.
The fish farmers here at Lake Victoria prioritize breeding tilapia since it's easier compared to the Nile perch species which preys on other fish leading to losses.
Tilapia is one of the best fish tunafanya. Tujai kuwa na hiyo idea ya kufuga Nile perch. Ile predator mbaya sana, samaki nakula samaki wenzao.
How are you able to keep up with the high demand of fish in the market, bearing the fact that harvest is done on seasonal basis?
As you can see, hizi vitu ni mingi. Tumeziweka in sequence. Kila mwezi kuna zile cages 3 na harvest ama 2. Tumeziweka in sequence. Uwezi weka tu eti unangojea hii after 10 months. That is way long.
What are the systems of authority put in place to ensure there is order when one wants to establish a fish cage on the waters of Lake Victoria?
Everything has a structure. Lazima upitie pale kwa BM Dunga Beach Management Unit. Watakupatia sako. We work as a sako. You join the sako, utakuja. You have the ability to start your own farm. Unaweza anza.
On the other hand, we meet Dorcas Agutu, who is a fish pond farmer in Nyawita village. Dorcas says that she began this venture of fish farming after noting a gap on the demand and supply factors.
Niliona area yetu hatuna fish farming, alafu demand ilikuwa high. Sasa nikaonelea nianze.
How do you set up the ponds?
Mpaka prepare pond. Unaweka DAP ili ifanye iwe fertile ya kuweka samaki, manake ukiweka iwe fertile watapata chakula humo ndani. Sasa ukiachilia tu hivyo itakuwa kavu, nutrients haitakuwa.
The feeding patterns are similar across cage fish farming and pond fish farming. At the early stages, the fish feeds on starters, which is a booster, and at 2 to 3 months and 6 months, the feeds vary in size at each stage.
Sasa nikianza kualisha, naanza na starter. Starter is a booster, which boosts them. Alafu naendelea. Nikimaliza starter naingia 2 mm. Nikimaliza 2 mm, wakimaliza 2 months wanaelekea 3 sasa. Naelekea na 3 mm. Kifika 6, sasa ni finisher 4 mm.
She gets her supplies of fingerlings from the hatcheries in Kisumu and Seme regions, where she uses different techniques to ensure the success of this transportation.
Kuna wenye wanatengeneza sehemu za Kisumu town, kuna zingine tunapata sehemu za Seme. Inabebwa kwa wanawekewa oxygen, unaweka kwa juala. Kama catfish unaweka kwa mtungi.
According to Dorcas and Chris, the greatest obstacles they face are theft, wear and tear of the fish nets, snakes, frogs, inadequate capital, and transportation of fingerlings.
Kuna vitu zinaweza ingia, sana sana tiny ones, kama frogs zinameza. Alafu kuna nyoka pia. Hata nimeiua mingi, hata zingine ziko nayo kwa picha hapa kubwa kubwa.
Kuna wizi. Ukiangalia hapa kuna hii nyumba. Hii ni nyumba ya security. Hiyo ni nyumba ya security mwenye anakuja hapo usiku. Kuna ule tu mvuvi ataswim na gunia kutoka pale nje akuja akate hii net yako, achote samaki aachilie hizo zingine.
Alafu tena chakula iko expensive. Tatizo ya samaki ni saa ile una transport. Ukizileta late kama jua imewaka zinakufa.
Hizi net ziuraruka, kiraruka na mwaga everything. Unaona hii? Hii tunaita the top net, the cover net. Hii inasaidia hizo birds. Those are the most predators tuko nazo.
And in every challenge humans face, there are efforts and measures put in place to mitigate the problems at hand. And of course, Dorcas and Chris have adopted certain measures so as to secure their source of income.
Okay, nimeweka hizo net na nikafunga. Nimeweka pale kwa gate floodlight. Ili mtu akitembea hapo anaonekana tu. Na niko na umbwa hapa 3 German Shepherd. Nikisikia zikibweka huko chini, mpaka mtu atoke aende angalie ni nini natendeka huko chini.
Mary Achieng, a fish seller at Dunga Beach, also attests to the fact that fish has reduced in the Lake Victoria waters. She says that this forces them to be out of business on some days.
Saa hii kuna wakati samaki ya lake imepungwa kabisa. Wavuvi wakienda, anakuja na moja, anakuja na 2. Sasa hiyo tunakosa kazi.
Despite this decrease of fish in the Lake Victoria waters, Achieng says that they are always torn between supplying fish from the lake and that from the ponds because most of the customers prefer fish from the lake.
Kuna mwenye hii samaki ya pond imemshinda kuuza kabisa, manake customers zake hawataki. Ukimtumia ya lake kama leo, kesho ingine akihitaji umtumie hii ya pond, anakuambia hapana, hiyo sio samaki. Ya leo umenitumia, hiyo sio samaki.
At the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, we meet Karen Mugambi and Cecil Otieno, who are experts in this fishing sector. They attest that there is a decline in the wild catch, not only on the Lake Victoria waters, but also in other water bodies.
As you know, the wild fisheries currently is dwindling. This is as a result of many different reasons. Just to mention a few, there's overexploitation in our fisheries resources, there's climate change, and this has resulted in dwindling fisheries, especially on Lake Victoria. These effects are really being felt among the fishermen.
If we look at the numbers in the late 90s and early 2000s, the numbers were great, and from there to currently, the stocks have really declined. And to policymakers, this is a quite serious challenge which has been realized as much as the numbers in the lake is concerned.
Despite this decline, hope has been born due to the innovation of cage fish farming.
There's actually a lot of hope. Therefore, the status is not so bad, such that we say there is no hope. There are actually the cage fishing, which is coming up. Cage fishing is one of the areas in blue economy that will unlock the potential in blue economy.
The production of fish farming has really gone up, and it has breached the gap of the natural fish stock. So from where I sit, I can say that aquaculture is a good thing to the country, and it is timely because it has come at a time where the natural fish stocks are going down, and through cage fish farming, and if it has been done sustainably, it can really help bridge the gap of the fish demand in the country.
Cecil says that wrong placement of fish cages is one among the many factors that causes the decline.
You find that there have been some fish kills in the lake whereby the cage farmers, they place their cages in the lake in the wrong sites, and you find that when there is any change in the environmental aspects or the natural occurrences like upwelling in the lake, most cage farmers are being affected by the fish kills. And you find that if they could have followed the right procedure of placing their cages in the lake, some of these tragedies can be avoided.
Cecil adds that the solution to tackle this decline is by adopting aquaculture.
The rise in aquaculture has been to a greater extent because if we look at the fish demand and the demand gap which is there in the market, because currently in Kenya we are at around 430,000 metric tons, which is currently needed to be filled in the demand of fish in the country.
Under the Department of Fisheries, Karen says that fish farmers undergo training sessions to equip them with the knowledge and skills.
This program has over 200,000 fish farmer beneficiaries across Kenya, and the Lake Victoria region is a key player or a key beneficiary among the fish farmers who are given skills in fish farming and provided aquaculture inputs to be able to boost their businesses and to boost their aquaculture production to commercialization level.
Nilienda several trainings. Wana facilitate na government. Kuna wakati walituprovidiwa na fingerlings na chakula ya kutosha paka uharvest.
Cecil Otieno, Chris Odhiambo, and Dorcas Agutu not only urge the youth and those interested to venture into fish farming, but also call the government to keep supporting aquaculture in the country.
Aquaculture has been regarded as one of the fast growing food systems in the whole world. With sensitization and embracing aquaculture, we can find that it can be one of the alternative livelihood in the country. And if we look at the production numbers and the economic benefits.
Fish farming ni mzuri. Siwezi discourage mtu. Fish farming ni mzuri kwa sababu wewe pia unapata chakula na unapata pesa.
Advice naweza wapatia ni wenye wanaweza venture into this business, wakuje tutekeneze team moja, then we grow up.
Mary Wanja, Journals Media TV.